How many atomic bombs does Stalin possess?
At least 4 2-kiloton warheads are in production. But there is much even I do not know. Much we are not told.
Stalin's speech is coming on.
That woman, Stalin's paramour, correct?
I can think of better word to describe her. Yet, Bоже мой, on Pomazhny, he is mad. How can he do this?
Explain, Kosygin, what are you talking about?
Stalin! He announced he is telling everyone he's threatening to destroy the world. His missiles are ready, he's preparing to launch.
Is this possible?
A week ago, no. But now, who knows? This does not sound like a bluff. Even now, a great purge tears through the Kremlin. Your allied force becomes too powerful. In his fury, Stalin kills his own people. More death. More dishonor.
The Russians are manufacturing missiles at this site?
This factory's main site. We call it Temные Vasodniki, the Dark Horsemen. Commander, you must destroy it. Everything. Scorched earth.
Establish a base first, then move in on the command center. Get a spy inside and neutralize launch capabilities. Once the missiles are neutralized, destroy the facility. Everything. Scorched earth.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Cannot deploy
Affirmative.
here. Cannot deploy here.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Construction
Acknowledged.
complete.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative.
New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir.
Construction complete. Building. Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building. Training.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders.
Unit ready.
Vehicle
Training.
reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Training.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Training.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Awaiting orders.
Training.
Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. At once.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Building. On hold. Cancel. Building. On hold. Cancel.
Vehicle reporting.
Building.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Building.
Vehicle acknowledged. Reporting. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Building.
Awaiting orders.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Reporting.
Building.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Our base is under attack. Construction complete. Unit ready.
Reporting.
Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative.
Building. Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir? Yes, sir? Yes, sir? Vehicle
Construction
reporting.
complete.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Building.
Vehicle
Unit
acknowledged.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Construction complete. Building.
Reporting.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Building.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Insufficient funds.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Building. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Our base is under attack.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Repairing. Repairing. New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting order. Acknowledged.
Building. Unit
Reporting.
ready.
Affirmative.
Building. Insufficient funds. On hold. Cancel.
Vehicle acknowledged. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Cannot deploy here. Building.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Building.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Construction complete. New construction options.
Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building. Repairing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit
Very
ready.
well.
Unit
Yes, sir.
repaired.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Repaired.
Ready and waiting. Reporting. Very well. Affirmative.
Training. Unit ready.
Ready and
Training.
waiting. Yes, sir.
Unit
Ready and waiting.
ready.
Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes, sir.
prepared.
Affirmative.
Preparing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit repaired. Building. Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Primary building selected.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Unit repaired.
Vehicle reporting. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Our base is under attack.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Preparing. Preparing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Preparing. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Reporting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Ready and wait. Very well. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. At once. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir? Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Awaiting orders.
Building.
Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir? Acknowledged. Yes, sir? Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir?
Unit
Affirmative.
prepared.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Insufficient funds. Unit repaired.
Yes, sir? Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir?
ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Repairing. Insufficient funds. Repairing.
Yes, sir?
Unit ready.
Yes, sir?
Unit prepared.
Affirmative. Yes, sir?
Repairing.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Affirmative.
Repairing.
Yes, sir? Yes, sir? Of course. Ready and waiting. Vehicle reporting.
Unit repaired.
Yes, sir? Affirmative. Yes, sir?
Repairing.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Reporting.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir? Acknowledged.
Building. Unit repaired.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Reporting. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Repairing.
Yes, sir? Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir? Affirmative. Yes, sir? Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Yes, sir? Acknowledged. Vehicle report acknowledged. Vehicle report acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready. Building.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building. On hold.
Acknowledged.
Cancel.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Ready and waiting. Acknowledged. Very well. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Affirmative.
funds.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Reporting very well.
Yes, sir? Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir? Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir?
Training.
Yes, sir? Vehicle. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir? Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Preparing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired. Preparing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit repaired.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir? Affirmative. Yes, sir?
Unit repaired.
Affirmative. Yes, sir?
Preparing.
Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Preparing. Building. Unit
Yes, sir.
repaired.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Ready
Yes,
and
sir.
waiting.
Affirmative. Very well.
Training. Unit repaired.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Acknowledged.
Unit
Very well.
prepared.
Affirmative.
Medic reporting. Moving out.
Preparing.
Yes, sir.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Awaiting
Prepared.
orders. Affirmative.
Unit
Reporting.
prepared.
Vehicle affirmative. Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit prepared. Preparing. Unit prepared.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Repair.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Repairing. Building. On hold. Cancel. Unit repaired. Building. Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Unit repaired.
Affirmative.
Repairing.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Unit repaired. Building. Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting.
Unit repaired.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting order. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit repaired. Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit repaired.
Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building. Training.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit
yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Building. Training.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle
Unit
reporting.
ready.
Affirmative.
Training.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Affirmative.
Training.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Training.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Mission saved.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle acknowledged. 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 Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Repairing.
Vehicle
Unit
reporting.
repaired.
Affirmative.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Construction complete. New construction options.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Structure sold.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Structure sold. Structure sold.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Very well.
Reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Agreed.
Construction complete. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Medic reporting. Moving out.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Structure.
Reporting.
sold.
Very well. Affirmative. Very well. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Mission saved. Building.
Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Reporting. Agreed. At once.
Yes, sir. Vehicle reporting. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Medic reporting. Moving out.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Mission saved.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
A-bomb detected.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Sir? Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Commander, as you are well aware, Stalin has launched 4 atomic missiles. The only way to stop them now is to get into the command center. Each missile is controlled by a launch terminal. Deactivate all the launch terminals and stop those missiles.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle report acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Silos needed.
Yes, sir.
Silos needed.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Reporting. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged. Reporting.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Building.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Agreed.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Waiting orders. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Reporting. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Waiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Ready and waiting. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Mission saved.
Vehicle
Silos
reporting.
needed. Mission accomplished.